In our previous lecture, we set up our image gallery, which is now kind of configured with our UI collection view, which displays all of our images into a cell and populates it multiple times to display that different image in the different cells. And we've got the ability now to display it to create our image gallery. We're now moving on to having the ability to select one of these images and then get pushed to a detail view where we can then see this image blown up in a larger UI image view. Now before we can get onto this, we need to jump into our main.storyboard, as the first thing we need to do is set up the ability to push to a detail view. Now what we're going to do is have this view controller embedded within a navigation controller. This is so we can push to a detail view, and then when we finish looking at it, we can then resume back to our first view. So make sure we select our files owner and we go up to editor and then go down to embed in and select navigation controller. You can see then it creates this navigation controller, which I'm going to quickly select in our attributes inspector and change to our iPhone size screen. And then I'm just going to move this along here. So if I go to build and run now, you'll now see that it has a navigation bar placed in at the top of our image gallery, as you can see there. And if I scroll up and down, you can see the images go underneath it. There we go. Right, so we're going to use this bar to push to our next view. So if I just double click on it, I can give it a simple title. So I'll just simply call it image gallery. There we go. Okay. So what we're going to do is have in a detail view controller, which is going to be a new UI view. Once we've got that in, we're going to select our detail files owner here, drop down our view, our collection view, right click from the cell, or control click and drag it over to our new view controller. And then select a segue as show. This then creates the ability to, if we select any of our cells, it will then push over to our detail view. So what I'm going to do is go to build and run and just quickly test out to make sure that it is pushing to our detail view. So we can select any of these cells and it pushes to our detail view, and then we can go back, select the different one, pushes it over. And then what we basically want to do is, depending on what cell we select, then takes that image, brings it over and displays it in a larger image view within this detail view. So what we're going to do is first implement our image view into our new detail view. So if I just scroll down now to find an image view, there we go. I'm going to drag and drop that in, quite large, and space it out. And I'm going to set it from scale to fit to aspect fit. This is so it doesn't re-stretch or resize the image in any shape or form, which will kind of out-pixelate it or just fit in there nice and perfect. Well, then needs to create a set of, or a simple class to be able to control this detail view and reference this image view. So we go to our project and click new file. We then select Cocoa Touch class and make sure it's a subclass of a UI view controller. And I'll simply name it detail view controller and press next and then create that into our project. Okay, we've got that in, we've got our detail view controller in there. We're going to jump into our main.storyboard where we're now going to link that class up to our new detail view. So what we need to do is select our files owner at the top here and then go to our identity inspector. By adding the class name within the class section here of our custom class, we'll then add this new class we just added and link it to this detail view, which our class is called detail view controller. So then that's linked to that, so any objects we kind of reference now can have the ability to be linked up to the objects within this view. So what we're going to do is now bring up our assistant editor, go to our detail view and make sure that it is selected on our detail view. If it's not, just go to automatic and go through manually to simply find it. And once you've got it there, I'm going to space out the outlet section here. I'm going to drag and drop our image view in, and I just call it detail image. Nice and simple, and connect that up. Okay, so we now got this image view placed in and it's linked up to an outlet. We need to create this system to, once we press one of our buttons or our cells, it then takes the image from within it and display it in our image view. So what we're going to do then is close our assistant editor. And we've finished with our interface now, so we're going to jump into our viewcontroller.swift as we're going to create a variable to then use our NSUserDefaults to save our image to a string to then load it up within our detail image. So within here, we're going to create a function statement. And what it's going to be, the type out func here, it's going to be our collection view did select item at index path. So I did select item index path there. Now once we've created that there, let's get rid of the code from within it. And then what we need to create first is a variable for any object, which is going to use our NSUserDefaults to, again, like I said before, to get the image, display it in a string to get ready to place it over. So just after our array, I'm going to place in here, create a variable by var and simply name it name. This will get the name of our image. To then colon to have our any object from within it, question mark, with our bracket, press enter. We're going to have this get space our bracket here to return our NSUser defaults dot standard user defaults dot object for key, and in the highlighted section here, we do 2 quotation marks, and we must place in name. That's going to be the name of our string it's going to save the data to. So after this bracket here, we're going to do enter. I'm going to write out set space another set of parentheses, and we write NSUserDefaults dot standard user defaults dot set object. If we can quickly find it now, so set object, and within it we're going to set it to our new value exclamation mark for key, our name which we added in. And then we need to synchronize this data. That's what we do to basically finish it off. So we do NS user defaults again dot standard user defaults dot synchronize, and that adds it all in. So now we've created and basically set that little function up. We're then going to get what we selected, which I'll space it out here. Within our select item at index path. So the cell that we select, we simply get our name, which we created up here, our variable, to then equal our array space 2 brackets index path dot row. So whatever we kind of add or kind of select, whatever cell we select is going to equal our index path from the array. So we select our first cell, it's going to get that image and save it to the string of name. We're then going to get it within our detail view controller .swift here to then load that up within our detail image from within here too. So we need to create another variable for our name. So we type out var space name with our colon there, and we're going to add this to our any object, just like we did in our previous view, question mark with our parentheses brackets there, to then get our parentheses again, our NSUserDefaults dot standard user defaults dot object for key, and then we're just placing our name again, just like we did there, because we're now getting that string, loading it up, and then adding that and linking that to our detail image. Now we need to make sure that that returned it, as I missed out the return there. There we go. That should get rid of any problems there. Okay. So then within our view did load, as soon as the view loads up, we're then going to get our detail image dot image to equal a UI image. Now the UI image it equal is going to be named, and the string we're going to have it set as name as exclamation mark our string. There we go, and that with the single bracket at the end. So then that name image is going to be equal to our string, which is going to be the image that's been saved to our name string in our NSUserDefaults, which whatever cell we selected, and then it gets displayed within our detail image. So it's kind of like a really smart way of how it's doing. So we're going to go to build and run now and test it out to see exactly how it's working. You see, so as it loads up, we've got all our cars in here. We select one of our images. So we select our first cell here, which is of our white Nissan GTR. We select it. It then saves that image as a string to our name section of our NSUserDefaults, and then gets our detail image to load up the name of the image within our string, which then displays it within the detail image, which displays it there. Which I can go back and select a different one. So we got our Bugatti here, which then it does the same, loads it up. We have our Lamborghini, we have our Ferrari, and then we have our other Ferrari here. I believe that's 2 Ferraris if I'm correct there. Yeah, it is. And then finally our Audi. And you see, so no matter what one we select, doesn't matter where it is on our collection view, it then saves that image quickly to our string, and then gets the string to load up within our detail image. And that's simply how we can take advantage of UI collection views to create a simple but yet very powerful basic image gallery.